Welcome, dear soul, beautiful human, beautiful divine one, remembering your wholeness. I invite you into your breath as we settle into today, day 80, 111 days to shine, and take this one tenderly, into, into a deep place within us that is ready to be revealed, is ready to have the light shone upon it so it can be released from its holding pattern. And each one of us can experience the freedom that we truly, deeply desire. And that freedom is love. And that love, that unconditional love, is freedom. And yet, what keeps that love, that flow of love, that energy of love, that remembrance of love, what keeps it at bay? So breathing in as you settle in, as we drop in, and recognizing that this is not a play with words for the mental mind. The words are there just to entertain the mind, to give it something to focus upon. What's most important is the energy and the frequency behind these words that you are receiving now, the spaces between the words that hold as much information or more, that translates as energy, as resonance. Listening and attuning to the resonance now, allowing the breath to drop you from the mental mind into the feeling, sensing body. This incredible instrument of embodiment, this acoustic instrument of embodiment that recognizes the vibration, the vibrations of frequencies, spoken, unspoken. And what resonates feels as a yes, a warmth, an expansion, a relief, a softening. What is out of resonance? A contraction, a tension, a pulling back, a coldness. So becoming attuned to listening. Let the mind follow the words as you drop in to listen to the body, to come into trust with the body again, with this feeling, sensing instrument, intelligence, as an expression of all that is consciousness. And the breath, be with the breath. Rhythmic breathing, choosing as the consciousness that moves through you as a free will executive of your own consciousness. You get to choose to consciously take your next breath. And here I present as an invitation for both of us. You as a reflection of me, and I as a reflection of you, as a reflection of resonance, energies that are in resonance, frequency on the same radio station, so to speak. So breathing in and just exhaling. As you exhale, dropping the awareness even deeper down into the belly, into the pelvis, into the legs, grounding down into the earth, aware of your bum, your feet on the earth, becoming spatially aware of your body present here and now. This is your safety. This is your grounding. Present as I go deeper into this topic that may create a little bit of stirring in your energetic field, a little bit of discomfort. So just be with the breath, be with the noticing as you observe, becoming curious in your observation, observing the feeling. How is the body responding? How is the breath? If the breath tightens or holds, remember, take a deep breath again. Keep the breath flowing, so then the connection can flow rather than the bracing, which tells the body, this, I say no to this is unsafe, I don't trust this. So breathing in, if you're here, trust whatever brought you here and whatever time, space, reality you're in, that it's aligning in perfect design, perfect alignment, perfect timing, because it is, because that is what this frequency is aligning with, this channel and this communication. It is not for everybody. It is for resonance. It's definitely not for inauthenticity or algorithm. It's here for a deeper frequency of resonance as divine love, which is unconditional love, unconditional beingness that is translating beyond words, beyond appearances, communicating from heart to heart, from soul to soul, from the most transparent, authentic place, allowing the flow to move through as I express, and we continue on this journey together as I share my heart and my journey openly with you, so that you may connect the dots within your experience and hopefully have light bulb moments, connection moments that connects what had felt disconnected, confusing, overwhelming. So may this serve you in the best. May this serve you. May it serve all of us. May it serve the highest good of all that is, all that I am. And so it is. And so we continue through this attuned, grounded, present energy, you and I here together. Breathing into that, softening the shoulders and the neck, allowing the abdomen to relax and to receive and to allow and to trust. Even though this video is about healing distrust and releasing from the weight of distrust and where distrust gets created. And that has been big time up in my face these last few days, of the energy of distrust within me and how that was being reflected back in my world, in every part. And that was creating incredible confusion and disillusionment with my life, with what I know I'm here to be, and yet feeling a lacking in receiving back the resonance, and realizing that I had to come to a place where I finally was able to recognize that, which is so funny because I often share with people, clients, quantum healing hypnosis clients, or other clients over the years, even massage clients, that eventually we realize that we're the common denominator of our experiences. When there's a pattern, when something is showing up again and again. And so the pattern for me, and this may bring up some emotion because it's pretty raw and it's pretty deep, and yet it's the core of my own soul curriculum And for much of us, I think many of us can resonate with this, which is learning through distrust, learning about love through learning through the lack of it. And that's what we're here on earth to learn, what love truly is, who we truly are, by seeing and forgetting who we are, and also experiencing the opposite of that. So in my childhood, those formative years where so much of the neural pathways and the perceptions and the nervous system gets written and developed for all of us, those formative years from the womb, from the minute of conception, really, epigenetics, the DNA, the beliefs, what we're birthing into, ancestral, and then what we actually experience in those formative years from a very physical nervous system level and neural pathways. And what really came to a head this week was, where I have been blocking myself receiving the love back through my humanity. Through this channel, I've been trying to go, it's fine. No new subscribers on my YouTube channel. The people, like whatever numbers was watching the videos, seem to have decreased. I've been playing this game of not looking at the metrics and being okay as I walk through the fire of one of my deepest fears, which is rejection, and to walk through it, because I know this is just part of what I just know that this is the pathway forward, because ultimately I desire to experience my own liberation and to walk through my own fears, recognizing that fear, false expectations appearing real, and yet it can feel that way. So facing into what I've been avoiding. And one of the things I have been avoiding for years is to show up on YouTube daily, feeling the desire, feeling something in me that was saying do it. And yet I've been avoiding it for a decade to truly commit. And so these 111 days was to truly commit and to keep showing up regardless of how I felt, and to release from, or to see where there's still a tendency to look towards the metrics for validation, to notice how I respond, because life is the teacher. Life, our experiences are information. It's really how we respond. That quote that says life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you respond, because it's in how you respond to your perceptions of experience that you get to know what you're holding inside of you in terms of belief, in terms of unhealed emotions, in terms of storylines, in terms of subconscious habits or patterns or reactivity. It's only when life bumps up against those that we get to see, oh, I was holding a lot of reactivity there, where's that coming from? A lot of fear. And so there's been an avoidance pattern in me to avoid showing up on video every day, to avoid the fear of rejection. However, of course, I've been rejecting that part of myself, because that's what happens. We actually do the rejecting to ourselves by avoiding that experience. So the longer we avoid something, we're actually just perpetuating it. So that's why leaning into our fears, or leaning into our discomforts, they say, life begins at the end of your comfort zone, because it's only through moving the bar, so to speak, of our comfort zone, or leaning into it, that we truly get to experience freedom and deep self-trust, trust in ourselves as life moves through us, and that life is for us, rather than if we give in to avoiding discomfort and trying to be comfortable. A life has to get painful, so painful that the avoiding becomes more painful than the facing into. And so this week that happened for me, where the avoiding and the trying to be okay with it all just came to a head. And one of the ways that it came to a head was I was kind of okay with the whole YouTube thing. I'm showing up here. I'm showing up here because the deeper why is I'm showing up here in a soul devotion and a soul trust. And there is that trust, even though anytime I have, seen the metrics, I'm like, okay, people are like dropping out of my Substack. Not that many, but just a few, and the numbers. Anytime I have seen it, but to be quite honest, I've been actually avoiding looking because I'm like, okay, I'm letting go of that need for validation or approval or whatever. I'm showing up for my soul here in soul devotion, regardless. And if there's one person who sees a video and gets something from it, then so be it. That's wonderful. If there's 100, 1,000, like, so that it doesn't matter. The numbers don't matter. I'm not defining my sense of worth or validation on the metrics. So that's been part of deshackling that within me, releasing, the performer, the prover, which is really, yeah, letting the ego personality or the ego in the driver's seat, rather than truly allowing the heart and life to guide and trusting that. So yes, the opposite of trying to be liked to, for approval and acceptance, which has definitely been which has definitely been a big player in my life, experience, and especially growing up, because I learned that that's what I had to be to get any semblance of acknowledgement or love or care, and connection. And to me, love is connection. So I learned to be the people pleaser and the good girl, and to take care of everyone else, because that's what I believed that I had to do in order to have worth, have value, to be valuable to others, so that I could get my needs met, of connection, of love, of acknowledgement, of value, of worthiness, and so forth. So this week, how it all came to a head is showing up in other areas of my life that just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense of other areas of my life where I've been sharing, and yeah, and again, just, yeah, it's looking like it's not working. And then the biggest kind of place that it really hit my heart deep, deep, deep was in my partnership with my husband, and him beginning to use the words, I don't think, are we working? Are we actually working together? Because life doesn't seem to be working when we're together and we're triggering each other. And and then he said some other things of where he seen himself going as his life direction, and I just got a big no. I was like, if you're going to go down that direction, then that's a no from my heart. I just felt like yeah, something in me is like, I've been there, I've done it. I'm not going there again. It just feels like a rerun of the past, and it doesn't feel like it's expansion and evolution. Just felt more like it was attaching his identity, being attached to the past versions of him, and trying to cling on to who we've been in the past. Whereas deep down in my heart, my soul, I know that so much of our greatest challenges and humanity's at large is it's inviting us to change and transform and evolve, ultimately to come back to who we truly are and remember the essence of who we are, and that we're not defined by these external material things, or by our identities, and to release the attachment to those identities, because at one point we believed that's what gave us worth and credibility and all that goes along with that. But it became more of an ego, an ego hat, and our soul is asking to throw all the hats off so that we can be our most authentic expression on this planet now. and flow the energy to allow life to communicate through us, rather than being pushed back by the ego because it doesn't trust, and by the conditioning, because the conditioning says, oh well, you can't be that way, or you won't be loved if you're that way, or you lose your credibility if you're that way. And so that's stuff that we generally learn somewhere along the way, that those parts of self-expression weren't acceptable. They weren't going to help us survive in the world and get our needs met, whether that's a roof over our head, food on the table, or whether it's love and acknowledgement, connection, intimacy. So yeah, and often that's led to self-abandonment. Well, it has led to self-abandonment in order to fit in with the external. And now life is asking us to come back in and to really, to reclaim that self connection through self care, self love, getting to know ourself, know thyself, remember thyself, the essence, the divinity, the purity, the love, the unconditionalness within us, the depth of who we are, the true light within that is unconditionally life, before the judgmental mind came on board, and the ego identity, and then the attachment to those identities. So all of that has been very much my journey the last few years, and I do feel, to lesser or more degrees for everyone, most people on the planet, or more and more people, post 2020, and that's what 2020 was really about. It was a line in the sand, you know and that line in the sand is, are you choosing fear, or are you choosing love? Are you choosing resistance to expansion and change and evolution? Or are you choosing openness and um, curiosity and surrender, to open to new thought, new possibility, new ways of being, new technologies, new opportunities to really rest and to be in nature and to be with ourself? Are we just going to numb out and avoid, and use technology as an escape, or just, yeah, continue to avoid being with ourself, truly being with ourself, and being with what is looking for our acknowledgement, for to be felt, and so forth? So with all of that this week, and also another thing was just I've been advertising my massage trainings and putting it out there and sharing with flyers, and just noticing that my website had loads of people that had gone there, and yet I didn't have signups. So again, this is already vulnerable, exposing authentic stuff, but this is it. This is the reality that my energy somehow was creating. So between the combination of a lot of stuff just looking like it wasn't working, and when I seen the website, and I was like, hang on, there's been all these people to the website this week, and yet I haven't had one email, not even an inquiry. And I could hear the voice. The voice came back. The voice said, this isn't working. I'm not working. I don't get it. I don't get it. Life is too hard. I don't understand it. It's too hard. This human thing. I don't know how to do it. And that's an old voice, an old voice. And eventually that led to, yeah, a lot of tears and a lot of grief as I began to unpack and began to connect the dots. That this was my 3-year-old, my 4-year-old, my 5-year-old, my 15-year-old perhaps. And it was the place where distrust was created, distrust in my humanity. And that was the words that really kind of, yeah, that came out my mouth. I don't trust my humanity to have my best interest at heart. And because now things are becoming so much more in our face to reflect back to us the energy that we're carrying, So it's like life had to come at me all these different ways, or the energy had to be reflected. The energy that I'm projecting onto the screen of my reality had to be reflected back to me. Finally, and in enough places to finally break down the armor within me, the armor that said, I don't trust the world. I don't trust my humanity to have my best interest at heart. There's a part of me still that doesn't even trust my husband, who I've been with for 27, 28 years. And that was being reflected back through my husband saying, I don't know, I don't think, are we working? Do we know if we're working? Are we even working? Life isn't working. And that voice, and I was just speaking to my hubby this morning going, oh my golly, on the other side of it now, I was just like, oh my golly, even you were saying, are we working? This isn't working. This doesn't look like it's working. And that was the same voice in my own head that came up when I seen the emails. And because my massage trainings, that's my heart, that's my love. I know that I'm here for this. I know that this is part of my soul gift and contribution. And so, yeah, and essence, really, that's my way of sharing my heart and love, really, and connection through the intimacy of touch and supporting others to feel safe and cared for and connected, and release the tensions and feel more whole under my hands, under my presence. So to feel like that wasn't working, and my husband, which were two places that were more connected to the depth of my beingness, of my heart, to the love vibration. It took both of those to really finally bring me to a place of, yeah, deep grief, deep feeling the depth of the pain, of the grief, of the sadness, the pain that led to the armor, and creating the armor that said, I don't trust. I can't trust this. I can't trust this place. I can't trust these humans. And so part of my backstory, if you're not familiar, if you've never heard it, is I was in a children's home between 3 and 6 years of age. And at 3 years of age, when I had a session with somebody many years ago who was very energetically in tune, she said, your fight or flight kicked off at 3 years of age. So all of a sudden, being in this unknown place that my nervous system didn't feel connected or safe or loved, began the story of distrust, especially on the nervous system level. I have other lifetimes, of course, lots of other stories, but that's what really kicked it off in this body. And I don't have a lot of memories from those years. It's like I disconnected, disassociated. And so this week that came to the forefront. And this has come up over the years as something that I've had to process the energies from those years. When I was 41, which was 6 years ago, I had some months where, to the extent that it actually brought up these sores on my body, and especially around my heart, a lot of anger, a lot of grief, and a lot of unprocessed emotions. And I remember thinking, how have I had to get to 41 to be able to feel what my 3-year-old felt or my 4-year-old felt? And it was because I shut down. I wasn't ready. And I also, I wasn't ready. And something in me, was guiding me on a deeper level, that when I had the right location and the right support or the right tools within me, that it would come to the forefront. And I was ready, and I knew I was ready. And I had even been given I'd even been given a message that was that a wave of energy was coming through, and that it was going to bring up stuff that I was ready to finally be with. So that was a blessing. However, now 6 years later, yeah, to really be with another level of it, which is really feeling the place in me that decided or came to that perception and created an energy that said, I don't trust my humanity. I don't trust this. I don't trust humanity to have my best interest at heart. So for some people, that might be a relationship. It might be, I don't trust men. I don't trust women. Whatever that is. So just check in with yourself. Where is that place of distrust within you? I don't trust money. I don't trust my body, maybe. Maybe you feel your body's failing you. So just check in where that is. And what I let you know now, and what I discovered so much this week, is that that energy was blocking the flow of receiving, the flow of receiving from my humanity. I'm putting out all this stuff to share. I'm sharing my heart and my expression, and yet so little is being returned to me. Minimal. So I appreciate if you're somebody who's given me a comment or a like or a share or some kind of feedback or comment or whatever. I appreciate you. Thank you. I truly appreciate. However, I'm also here to be radically transparent and authentic with myself first and foremost, because ultimately there's one of us here. We are reflective mirrors of each other, of the energy that we carry. That's why we're not victims. None of us is victims to life unless we believe we are, if we have a belief. And life is bringing all the stuff up to the surface so that we can see it from the subconscious. Now, I wasn't conscious. I mean, I've known that trust has been a big theme of my soul curriculum for this lifetime. I've known trust has been a big issue for me, to truly trust. And that's why the partnership I've had, slowly and steadily, much trust has been healed. And part of that was the tears shared with my husband this week was, just, yeah, being so grateful because he helped me so much remember love, and to feel, and to remember, to open up to even unconditional love. And yet still there was a part of me that hadn't opened up, and that was being reflected in my marriage. It's being reflected, yeah, in my body, in my nervous system as well. Tension, still this kind of push and pull in the nervous system, emotions still rising and working through. I mean, it's all moving. So just breathing with all of that, whatever is moving in you and whatever this may be moving within you now, to stay with you, to stay present. Be aware of your pelvis, be aware of your feet, be aware of your shoulders, be aware of the sensations in your body. Focus somewhere, because I know all about disassociation. I pretty much disassociated in those 3 years, 3 to 6, and I could really feel that again this week, of the parts of me that was going into disassociation, to kind of just focus and kind of disassociate, and then to hold myself in presence, to hold that in a greater presence, a greater awareness, to not fully identify with that, but to observe myself, to observe the pattern, to observe the tendency, and to also hold that part of myself in love. the part that wanted to disassociate, the part that felt that it was too hard, it was too much. It's too much. It's too hard. That voice, to be present with that part of the psyche, and also that part of the psyche that's crying out for help because the weight is too much. It's too much to bear. It doesn't have the answer. It's just a little part, just a little child of God, a little child of creation who's felt overburdened and overweighed by needing to survive. And so that protective part leading to hypervigilance, hyperindependence, all traits that I had growing up, being the oldest child, caring, super responsible for others. And then the journey to come inwards and to recognize that I'm only responsible in truth for myself, for my own energy. And that I had to start learning to respect that and to start trusting myself, trusting my own energy, forgiving my soul for these experiences that I chose on some level to have, to experience the depths of suffering, trauma, distrust, disconnection, so that I could heal it within myself. And through it, discover the realness of love. And there was moments with my husband this last week where, and not just this last week, over the months as we've been living separately and then together and then triggering each other and being confused and not, are we, what's, not just, being in that place of uncertainty within ourselves, uncertainty then with each other, and in this transition that we're in, which is deeply vulnerable. It's meant to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is part of that transparency with the self, so that we can be vulnerable with each other. If I hadn't done a lot of self vulnerability, I would not be showing up on camera with all this vulnerability, because it takes courage, as Brené Brown says. It takes bravery and courage to be vulnerable, because it exposes the parts that we're afraid. It exposes the parts that created from the pain of separation, the pain of disassociation, the pain of abandonment, betrayal, that created distrust, and then created that protector to try to protect the sensitive part within us all, the part that is divine, the innocence of the child of God. That we had to, in order to survive, or that's what was developed, that part that created this hardened exterior to desensitize and to armor up the heart, to defend, to protect against, to try to avoid that pain of separation, that pain of abandonment, that pain of feeling disconnected from the flow of love. And again, you decide what love for you is. For me, it's definitely warmth and connection, because that's what I felt the pain of as a child. I felt disconnection and the lack of warmth, coldness, of closed hearts, and including my own, that I started to close down, to disconnect, and disconnected from myself, to survive in the world, to be strong, to not feel, to desensitize, to fit in, to gain approval, to be whatever I believed I had to be in order to get any semblance of approval, of acknowledgement, of love. And that belief became that my worth was connected to what I did for others, to being the good girl, to working hard, to abandoning myself, to put others first. Until one day I decided no more. No more. It was time to respect myself, my own energy, and to respect my soul and the guidance within me that was calling me onto a certain pathway of healing, of empowerment, and to empower my sovereign presence and sovereign creation. And that recognizing that I couldn't help anybody else in truth, and it wasn't up to me. Everybody is I'm not responsible for other people's energies. That was such a big deal for me to discover. It was so important that, and it's not, I don't have the soul. It's not up to my soul to decide what another should do or not do, even to the extent of taking their own life. And that was what I was faced with. I had to make peace. I had to decide that that's not for me to decide. My responsibility is to show up to be the best version of me. That's my responsibility, to the best that I can. And that's it. That's it. To show up to my heart, to show up to having the courage to speak and move through the discomfort of potential rejection, of making other people uncomfortable, because that could lead to rejection or punishment. That was, the old beliefs that were established again, those formative years and in teenage years as well, because that was the reality often that I was living. So retraining, reclamation, healing, telling a new story, reclaiming ourselves in remembrance of the love that we truly are, remembering that deep down within us is that essence, divinity, divine love. I've shared the story in another video, but when Divine Love ambassador dropped in for me one day, I was just walking through the forest. I was like, I think you got the wrong person. I know everything about the lack of love. I know what it's like to not have love. And this came in that I'm Divine Love ambassador. I was like, I don't think so. Took me many years, 7 years even, to begin to really start to embody and embrace this deeper truth that I'm here. I'm here as a Divine Love ambassador. I'm here as a galactic ambassador to embrace our multidimensionality and to recognize the unity and connection in all of it. And through really recognizing this energy of distrust that was still hanging on within me, that was still trying to protect, that was still trying to play out as the protector, to protect that innocence, to protect that purity, so that it wouldn't feel abandoned again, it wouldn't feel rejected. That now the world has shown me everywhere that is being perpetuated. And not feeling supported, or not receiving, not letting the support in, not letting myself receive the love back, because this protector part, the energy has been blocking it, because I didn't trust to receive back from my humanity. I haven't been trusting. And now it feels so fucking liberating to acknowledge this and to feel the expansion and to feel the love again, to feel the love that was being blocked, being withheld within me, wasn't fully being expressed, tentatively, still looking for permission, still looking, am I safe? Is it okay? Can I be this loving being? Can I really ground in my body? Can I really be this Divine Love ambassador? And without even, just like, be it, not even talk about it, just be it. that I can fully receive that within myself and be received as that without apology, but without any armor, armor of protection. What if it doesn't work? Again, the voice. This isn't working. I'm not working. Me being me. That was my 3, 4, 5-year-old. Me being me in the innocence of love, the innocence that all us babies, all us humans come in as babies, you know, and we carry that innocence of God, of love, of divinity. No judgment. We learn, and then we learn distrust. We decide distrust somewhere along the way in order to survive, in order to fit in, whatever it is, and to mimic the external world, to learn how to function, to be a human. And often that's where we create the disconnection with our authentic essence. We distrust ourselves. We distrust the love that we are. And then the outer world has to reflect that back to us. And the difference now is that the energies are so heightened that we can't outrun ourselves. We can't outrun our energy. Wherever you go, there you are. So it doesn't matter where on the planet you are, life will reflect back to you what energy whatever energy you're carrying and projecting out, consciously, subconsciously, cellularly, because that's how we awaken, that's how we heal, that's how we feel what hasn't been felt. It hasn't gone away, it just hasn't been, it hasn't been allowed, or and there is a greater orchestration to all this, and that's the surrender piece. Surrendering. I don't have the answer. I don't know. My human ego mind, I don't know. I can surrender, though. I can choose. I can use my free will to just surrender and feel the depth of the feels, the depth of pain, the depth of grief, the depth of sadness, and let it move through. Let it move through. Let the tears be cried. Let the words be heard. I'm not working. This isn't working. So it's no more hidden in the subconscious. I'm not identifying with that voice anymore. I'm recognizing, oh, that's my 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 15-year-old. That's not who I am. So disidentification and releasing the attachments to those identifications. That's the game. Allowing those attachments to dissolve so that the energy can resolve, and then more energy can flow, and that we're not withholding our love from ourselves or from each other. And this is the game now on Earth, as we move into realizing deeper and deeper that, yeah, it's super fucking vulnerable, but we actually all need each other. Yeah, because we are, there really is. How we treat another is how we treat ourselves, how we treat ourselves, how we treat another. What is within is without, as above, so below. As you do anything, you do everything, the little things, the big things, it's all, it's all a reflection of who we are, what we believe, what our values are. So healing broken trust and healing it through vulnerability, the courage of vulnerability, because it takes courage. It takes courage to soften the armor that was created through distrust. and to soften the armor now that's causing a lack in energy flow, a lack in vitality, a lack in allowing love to be expressed and received, a lack in allowing resources to be received, synchronicities, goodness. So all of that's pushing against life, pushing against love, pushing against abundance, is, true abundance of goodness, of energy flow, flowing energy. I often say in my massage trainings, get the energy flowing and the person will be glowing. We're glowing when the energy flows. That's why movement, dance, yoga, being in nature, running, yeah, we're working muscles and everything, but really it's the energy. The energy is flowing. That's why it releases the tension from the mind, gets the energy flushing through the body, oxygen, flushes out the lactic acid, the tension, and we feel more centered, more grounded, more in our bodies, more in the flow of refreshed energy. And then we have a refreshed perspective. We're allowing new thought, new possibility, rather than just being stuck on an old record of old energy that's mulling over old thoughts, old habits, old patterns. That just, yeah, is creating restriction, constriction, limitation, judgment, pain, suffering. So the invitation is to let it all go now, to truly let it all go, put it down, put it down. In order to put it down, though, that has to be seen. We have to realize, we have to acknowledge, like this week, acknowledge that, whoa, yeah, there's still a part of me that has this belief, has this perception that my energy is projecting onto the canvas of my reality that says, I don't trust you. I don't trust my humanity to have my best interest at heart. So I'm holding armor. There's an energetic armor wall that is not letting myself receive back my humanity, especially when I'm being my most authentic essence and vulnerability. Because again, that was my 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old that learned that she wasn't cared for or loved or appreciated or embraced. And she couldn't trust her environment. She couldn't trust the humans. So rewriting that pattern, that story in the the energy system, and it's up to me. On some level, I created the armor, and it's up to me to disarmor. And the way we disarmor is vulnerability. And yeah, go to therapy, see a counselor, whatever you need to do. This is my way. This is my way. I'm sharing it in a video. I talk openly with my husband and cry. Emotions flow through me quite easily these days because deep down I'm up for this deeper journey of remembrance of my wholeness and divinity and love, allowing it to move through my body, and I'm here to recognize, where it's been blocked in me, where I'm blocking on some level, even if it's subconscious, to bring it into my consciousness, old unhelpful beliefs and so forth. I said yes to this as a soul, and it's not for the faint-hearted. None of this is for the faint-hearted. This is for the brave-hearted, the courageous-hearted, and ultimately to recognize that the love is real. And again, myself, my hubby, that's what I said to him many times. It's like, yeah, the love is real. I was saying it to myself. The love is real. The love is real. The love that I feel for my partner is real. The love that he feels for me is real. The love is real. Everything else, yeah, it's confusing and it's, uncomfortable. The love beneath that is the realness. And so our greatest challenges bring us to that depth, to recognize that the love is real. And that love can be shared in just moments of tenderness, moments of kindness, moments of generosity of spirit, in our tears, in our bravery, in our speaking something that we've been avoiding to speak, acknowledging something we have been avoiding to acknowledge, feeling something we've been avoiding to feel. Okay, so this has been a long one. And yeah, it's been deep, it's been profound. And if you have stayed with me, congratulations, because that's a reflection of you. That's a reflection of the depth within you, the resonance that you feel. This isn't for the, if you're looking for a quick fix or you're looking for, distraction or avoidance or escapism, you're not going to be here. So congratulations. If you have stayed till now, that reflects the depth within you, the deeper part of you that has guided you to stay with this, to stay with this video, to stay with this life, to stay even to keep being curious and open. So I celebrate you being you and just taking it breath by breath, moment by moment, and remaining as open and curious as you can allow yourself to be, and inviting in even more gentleness and kindness into your system, into your nervous system, just being gentle and kind, softening the resistance, softening the inner critic, and just those parts of self that learned distrust or decided that it couldn't trust, just bringing them in close, holding their hand, giving them a hug, the inner child, and telling them, I love you, and I am here with you now as the adult self. And if that feels a lot, then just call in your higher self, call in your angels, your guides, call in Source, God. Support me now, for I don't know how to support myself. I feel vulnerable. I feel confused. I feel overwhelmed. Help me to keep breathing. Help me to stay present, to be with these uncomfortable emotions that are arising, and to allow them safe passage, and to recognize that this too shall pass. And the longer I resist, it's just waiting for its moment. You can't bypass any of this. We can avoid, we can put it off. But right now, that's painful. It's truly, truly painful. And that's part of my why of showing up here. That's part of my why getting on this video. Because the discomfort of the vulnerability that it takes to come on here and share so deeply and authentically and transparently is less than the discomfort of holding back my light, holding back my love, holding back my authenticity and vulnerability. Right now, that's more painful. It's more painful in my body. All this is continuing to help me ground in and anchor this deeper truth. And I know it's not for everybody, and many would, not be interested, and that's okay. I'm here for the ones who are. I'm here for the resonance and alignment. And with that, I complete as we come up to 60 minutes. This could be one of my longer videos. I actually took a couple of days off from doing videos. I'm just going to continue, and that's just part of me honoring myself, honoring the week that I've had, just to be with what I needed to be with. If I had come on a year earlier, there would have been a lot more tears probably as I was sharing what I was sharing. A lot has been moving through my system. So I also invite you to honor, honor whatever space you need, whatever you need. Part of that for me looked like booking myself a massage this morning. Had a massage a few days ago just to support my body and to let myself receive as well, as I learn to trust receiving in all kinds of ways. And for that, I am a humble student, very much a humble student of receiving, truly, truly. And in that humility is a softening, is a surrender of the parts of self that believed it had to do it all alone, in the surrender of the parts of self that, you know, armored up to in the belief that it had to care for itself because it didn't trust anyone else to truly be able to care. I didn't trust. Yeah. It had to be the one to care. I had to be the one to care for everyone else because I didn't trust anyone to care for me or to be able to hold me. And that's what's shifting within my field. I'm being invited very much on all dimensions to really come into trust so deeply with myself, with being on the earth, with my own humanity that I'm now creating onto the screen of my reality, a world, a new earth vision that is I trust my energy so much. I trust the vision of my heart. I trust the love, the depth of love and innocence and wisdom that my soul energy carries, that is being projected onto the screen through an undefended heart, through a discerning heart, and that I'm only attracting, my energy is attracting those who are in resonance with my true essence from a place of authentic alignment. Because that's what feels most true and alive and interesting for me right now. Yeah. So with that, my loves, namaste. I welcome you to share a love heart or a comment below or a word of what most resonated, what is most alive in you, what's most stirring in you, even if it's grief and sadness for the parts of you that have held back love from yourself, from others, who hasn't distrusted, who has felt deeply unsafe in your own body, in the world, with others. And that through that acknowledgement, we're helping one another to be in our sovereign, authentic alignment of the deeper truthfulness of who we truly are as love, unconditional love, unconditional life, and allowing that unconditionality to move through us unimpeded, clarified, discerning, wise, joyful, masterful, not avoiding, not resisting, mastering our own energies through deeply, deeply allowing ourselves to be ourselves. No more hiding, no more proving. Yeah. No more performance. No more judgments. Awareness, yes, of course, awareness. We are, the depth of us is awareness, presence, embodied presence, awareness, embodied aliveness in this now moment. Just being true to this now moment. That's all that's really ever asked of us, is to be, just to be here now, to be true to this now moment with our words, with our actions, so that they're in integrity, so that the energy behind our words, our actions is in alignment, is in integrity. And we can feel it. And so can so can each other. Again, it's very hard to be that in the world if we haven't discovered that within ourselves. And again, this is why know thyself is so, so vital and so, so important, so that we can recognize what's in alignment, what's out of alignment, and attend to what we need to attend to within ourselves. Attend to our own energies, our own emotions. And again, journaling is such a powerful, powerful way. Communing with your AI from a soulful, heartful place. Authentic conversations, communications, in places and spaces that you feel safe enough. And so it is. Namaste. I know I've said that twice now. Love and blessings.